Jungkook sat silently in his leather chair, the morning light glinting off the silver rim of his wristwatch. His sharp eyes scanned the pages of a thick project file, but his gaze flickered back to the time, a quarter to 11 in the morning. His brows twitched faintly. Still not here, he thought with a slow exhale, the weight of both anticipation and irritation evident in his eyes. The file in his hand was to be presented in the boardroom shortly, yet the person he was waiting for remained absent. Just then, a soft knock echoed against the office door. Come in. His voice was low, clipped, and cold, laced with authority that could make anyone's spine straighten. The door creaked open gently, and in walked a young woman, no older than 22. Her presence was graceful, her walk steady despite the tension in the air. She wore a modest outfit, a soft ivory shirt tucked into high waisted denim jeans, her elegant yet conservatively hidden beneath the slightly oversized fabric. The cuffs of her shirt were rolled up just enough to reveal her slender wrists. Her long chocolate brown hair was tied into a loose professional ponytail with a few strands framing her delicate face. Around one wrist, she had a small floral printed handkerchief tied like a bracelet, an odd but charming detail. Jungkook's eyes narrowed as he addressed her with his usual sharpness. Why were you late? I came early, but Mr. Wang called me for a quick meeting. He arched a brow in suspicion. Without saying a word, he closed the file and extended it toward her. As she reached out to take it, the little handkerchief slipped from her wrist and floated silently to the ground. Chunguk's eyes instinctively followed it, only to stop cold at the sight of a dark, unmistakable bruise. Marrying her wrist, his gaze immediately shifted to her face. Flustered, Wine hastily rolled down her sleeves and began buttoning the cuffs with trembling fingers. How did this happen? Oh, it's nothing. I slipped in the bathroom this morning while taking a shower. His jaw clenched, he stepped closer, voice sharp. You took a shower before me. You were perfectly fine at home. So suddenly, this. Her lies shattered like glass under his scrutiny. He stood up slowly, adjusting the buttons of his blazer, before striding toward her with dark intensity. What happened here? Tell me the truth. She lowered her gaze, unable to meet his eyes. The meeting is with Mr. Wang in 10 minutes. We will be late. Screw that meeting. My wife is more important. She looked up, stunned by both his words and the fire in his tone. Tell me, Wang. She winced as he gently took her wrist in his hand, careful but firm. Without another word, Jungkook turned and walked into the bathroom attached to his office. He returned moments later with a tube of ointment. Kneeling slightly, he applied it carefully to her bruise. His touch surprisingly tender. A single tear slipped from her eye. He looked up and catch it on his thumb. Without saying anything further, he stood and took her hand, guiding her with him to the boardroom. The atmosphere in the meeting room shifted the moment Jungkook entered. Every executive present stood in respect, nodding to acknowledge his authority. He walked to the head of the long table and took his seat with effortless command. Wine followed silently, her posture poised and expression calm, despite the storm within her. Mr. Wang was already seated opposite them, his eyes lingering a little too long on wine. His lips curled into a smudge barely their smirk. Wine stepped forward and presented the project, her voice composed and confident as she explained the core strategies and financial projections. Jungkook didn't speak. His sharp gaze remained locked on Wang, who kept sneaking glances at her throughout the presentation. The meeting concluded successfully. The contract finalized with Jungkook taking a significantly larger share, 65% to Wang's 35%. It was a critical deal for the company, but Jungkook's mind wasn't on the numbers anymore. Because beneath the table his hand had not let go of hers. As the meeting wrapped up and the executives began filling out, Mr. Wang leaned back leisurely in his chair, his calculating eyes fixed on wine. He tilted his head, a sly smile playing on his lips. Miss Wine, here looking exceptionally beautiful today. Would you be kind enough to bring me a glass of water? Jungkook's jaw tightened as he heard the words. His dark eyes locked onto Wang with a chilling stillness, like a predator eyeing its prey. Every muscle in his frame stiffened, but he remained silent, watching. Wine hesitated for a split second, catching the tension between her husband's burning gaze and Wang's slimy flattery. She quietly turned to fetch a glass of water, heels clicking softly on the polished floor. By the time she returned, only three people remained in the room: Jungkook, Wang, and herself. She stepped forward and extended the glass toward Wang. As she did, his fingers deliberately brushed against hers. Lingering just a second too long, startled, Wang lost her grip on the glass. It slipped from her fingers and shattered on the floor with a piercing crash, shards flying across the marble. Can't even hold a glass properly. What a shame, Miss Wine. You're delicate, but in all the right ways. Jungkook stood up abruptly, his eyes a storm of fury, barely held back, but instead of reacting, he reached into his pocket and placed his phone on the table. Without a word, he turned and strode out of the room, his expression unreadable. Wine watched him leave in disbelief, her heart sinking. He left me, but Jungkook wasn't abandoning her. He had a plan and he wanted every second of what was about to unfold to be catched by the phone recording he had subtly left behind. Left alone with Wang, a cold dread settled over Wine like a suffocating fog. Her stomach churned with the memory of that morning. Wang had called her to his office for an urgent meeting. The moment she arrived, his intentions became clear. He had cornered her, tried to touch her, and when she resisted, he grabbed her wrist with such force that it left a dark bruise. She would manage to kick him and escaped, but the mark remained. She had not told Jungkook because she knew exactly what he would do. He would destroy the deal in seconds, no matter the cost, and he would told her himself this deal meant everything. But now she was trapped again. Finally, just the two of us, sweetheart. Wine's heart dropped, her back straightened instinctively, trying to appear composed, but fear had already started to creep up her spine. This morning you ran, bold move. But tell me, who's going to save you now? He suddenly closed the distance between them and slammed a hand against the wall beside her head, effectively pinning her in place. His breath was too close, too warm, and laced with menace. A tear slid silently down her cheek. Please leave me, I'm already married. No problem. You are married, so what? That doesn't change how beautiful you are. Marriage doesn't matter to men like me. She turned her face away, disgusted and terrified. Her fists clenched at her sides, every fiber in her body screamed for escape. But Wang only leaned in closer, enjoying the fear in her eyes. Unbeknownst to him, the phone on the table was recording it all, every word, every moment. And outside the room, Jungkook's eyes were blazing with rage as he watched the live footage. His fists curled tightly, knuckles fight. Because no one, absolutely no one, laid a finger on his wife and walked away like nothing happened. Mr. Wang leaned in even closer, his hand slowly lifting, fingers switching as they moved toward Wine's cheek. Her heart pounded violently against her ribs. She squeezed her eyes shut, bracing herself for whatever was about to happen, every muscle in her body frozen with fear. But then, a deafening slam echoed through the room as the door was kicked open with brutal force. Wine's eyes flew open. There, standing like a storm unleashed, was Jungkook. His presence was electric, chest heaving, face carved with pure fury. Wang barely had time to react before Jungkook stormed across the room, grabbed him by the collar, and with one powerful motion slammed him onto the floor. How dare you touch my wife? What? Your wife? The shock barely registered before Jungkook lunged again, striding him as he brought down his fists one after the other into Wang's face. Each punch was raw, vague, given firm, scattered as Jungkook's knuckles tore across Wang's jaw. He didn't stop, he couldn't stop. Not when the image of his terrified wife pinned to the wall was still burning in his eyes. Jungkook, stop, please, you are bleeding. But he didn't hear her. His word had narrowed into a red haze. The sight of Wang laying a single finger on her had snapped something inside him, a possessive fury that had no mercy. Wang rushed toward him, her voice trembling. Jungkook, your hand, it's bleeding, please stop, that's enough. Her voice cracked as tears welled in her eyes. She reached out and grabbed his shoulder, trembling, trying to pull him back to reality. For a moment, his hand hovered mid-air and then slowly he stopped. Breathing hard, he looked at her, really looked. Her teary eyes, her shaking frame, the way she was touching his arm so gently, his hand dropped. He stood up, towering over Wang's battered body, his chest still rising and falling violently. If you ever look at her again, I will make sure you're not breathing long enough to replenish. Wang groaned, barely conscious. Wine reached for Jungkook's injured hand, her fingers trembling as she gently took it in both of hers. You don't have to hurt yourself like this. Jungkook looked down at her, then gently cupped her cheek with his other hand, ignoring the sting in his bruised knuckles. I would hurt the whole world to keep you safe. Suddenly, the door burst open again. this time with a metallic ladder, and three uniformed police officers stormed into the room. John Jungkook, we received an emergency call. What's going on here? Jungkook still standing tall and rage burning behind his calm eyes turned to them. Arrest him, he tried to harass my wife. Wang, still slumped on the floor and barely able to get up, laughed weakly, trying to mask his nervousness with arrogance. Do you have any proof, or is this just your little love drama playing out? He gave a smart smirk, wiping blood from his lip with the back of his hand. But Jungkook's expression didn't falter. Instead, he smirked a slow, confident tilt of his lips that made Wang's throat tighten. Proof? Oh, I have got more than enough. He raised his hand and pointed toward the sleek security cameras mounted in the corners of the room. The tiny red recording lights blinking steadily. Every word, every move, catch on CCTV. Wang smirk faltered. And then Jungkook pulled out his phone, the one he had deliberately left recording on the table, and played the footage. The room echoed with Wang's own filthy voice and sickening words. His attempts to corner Wine, his lurid comments, his aggression, it was all there. The officers exchanged glances, their expressions turning grim. That's more than enough. Get up, Mr. Wang, you are under arrest. They grabbed him by the arms, yanking him to his feet, but even as he was being handcuffed, Wang tried to spit one last threat. You just broke the deal, Jungkook. Do you realize what that means? You are going to lose billions of won. You will regret this. Jungkook cut him off, his voice booming with righteous fury and raw emotion. He took a step closer, towering over Wang like a storm ready to strike again. My wife's dignity, her respect, her safety is worth more than all your so called money combined. He paused, his eyes blazing with unshakable intensity. There isn't a single currency in this world that could outweigh her. Wang froze in place. Goosebumps rose along his arms. How could someone love his wife so much? How could a man speak with such devotion, such conviction that even the threat of losing billions mean nothing to him? Jungkook didn't even look at him anymore. He turned and walked back to Wine, gently cupping her cheek again, as if the rest of the world didn't exist. No deal is more valuable than you. The officers dragged Wang out, the echo of Jungkook's words haunting every step he took. Once the police had left and the office was still again, Chunguk didn't waste a second. He grabbed Wine's wrist, not harshly, but with a firm grip that told her he was barely holding himself together, and pulled her gently but urgently into his private cabin. He closed the door behind them, the click of the lock echoing through the tense silence. Why didn't you tell me? His voice was low, dangerously calm, like the quiet before a storm. Wine lowered her eyes, guilt pressing heavily on her chest because the deal was important. Important? He stepped closer, his tone now sharp, slicing through the air like glass. You think a deal money is more important than your safety? His chest rose and fell with labored breaths, anger pulsing just beneath the surface. He told me this deal could change everything for the company. I didn't want to be the reason it failed. I thought I could handle it. Handle it? His voice cracked with disbelief. Why? He left a bruise on you. He touched you. He cornered you, and you thought you could handle it? Tears pricked the corners of her eyes, but she held them back. Her silence screamed louder than words. You're not some employee to me. You're not part of a contract. You're my wife. You come first always. His voice broke and he turned his face away for a second. Fists clenched, then he saw the blood still staining his knuckles. Your hand, let me see it. She stepped toward him gently and took his hand, guiding him to sit on the couch. She grabbed the first aid box and knelt beside him, her hands trembling as she wiped the blood. It's deep, you shouldn't have punched him like that. I should have done worse if I came even a second later. I don't even want to think what would have happened. Don't say that, please. Her voice cracked and finally a tear slipped down her cheek. Jungkook catch it with his thumb, wiping it away before it could fall any further. Look at me. She lifted her eyes, glassy with emotion. Promise me something. What? Promise me you will never hide anything from me again, not even the smallest thing. I want to know everything, especially if someone hurts you. But I was just trying to protect you. No, protecting me doesn't mean breaking yourself in the process. That's not love, that's sacrifice, and I won't allow it. His jaw was tight and his voice was laced with raw protectiveness. I promise I won't hide anything from you again. Good. He leaned forward, their foreheads gently touching. His breath was warm against her skin. Because if anything ever happened to you again, I swear I would burn this whole world down.